Hi, I'm Chuck Joyner, and this is the MacVoices update for December 2018. Folks, just a quick reminder that the updates have shifted a little bit, so this is dated for December 2018, and you'll see it a lot closer to the first of the month. However, it's looking back, especially from a Patreon supporter aspect, toward November. We'll still be talking about things that are coming up in December, but especially from the Patreon part, we want to make sure that you understand that the Patreon supporters we will be listing later in this show are the ones who supported us through November. The December roll call will be done at the end of December, which will be the January update. I think that makes sense. It makes sense to me because it allows me to get the update out a little bit on a more timely basis. So looking back on November, with the Thanksgiving holiday here in the U.S., things were a little crazy, but we kept up with the production schedule, had a lot of great interviews. We started out with some of our holiday gift guide shows, which are always some of the most fun shows of the year, no question, because they started out as gift guide shows, and then they turned into these little informal gatherings of friends to talk about cool products. And now we still name the products, we still talk about the products, that's sort of the focus, but we seem to have an awful lot of laughs. I really hope you enjoy watching them and participating as much as we do having the fun of doing them. Of course, we kept up with our Take Control authors, talked to some new developers, and in general, just had a lot of great information out there. But you may have noticed over the past couple months that MacVoices has taken on a little bit of a new look with some new features, especially, and maybe even a little bit of a new sound. And I wanted to just touch on that. I've talked about it a little bit more, but I want to go just a touch more in depth, so bear with me. Frankly, Skype had become such a train wreck. There were so many problems with it, so many updates. They kept changing the interface, and the reliability was not what it really needed to be, especially for a video show. So I decided to move over to Zoom at zoom.us and try that, and it's really worked out very, very well. The video glitching problems have dropped to maybe not nothing, but pretty close to it compared to Skype. The audio quality is good, and it actually delivers a little bit better picture for those of you that subscribe or watch the video on YouTube or Facebook or subscribe to our video podcast options. The two limitations I found is that under the old system, I was able to have me and the guest on separate tracks. I was also able to have separate tracks for me and the guest on an audio basis. What that meant is that I could tweak and sometimes edit audio a little bit easier if one of us was talking over the other, or if someone sneezed while somebody else was talking, you could cut that out. I don't have that option anymore, and so you may notice that some of those little minor distractions may happen a little more often. From a video standpoint, Zoom does not give me a file that I can break apart and keep of a high enough resolution to have me on one side and the guest on the other. In the case of doing the 4-ups, it's a piece of cake. But for the others, it puts us side by side, and that's kind of where we have to stay. One of the workarounds for this is to scale everything up a little bit, maybe trim what's on one side of me off and one side of the guest off. But to be absolutely sure you're doing that right, it can get a little touchy. So it may look a little different, but I feel like the control I wanted and had with the old system is more than a trade-off for the benefits of the new system. The new system also records directly to the cloud. So I'm communicating with the server, my guest is communicating with the server, and then I get to download the files after the fact and edit them. I still have the ability to go to one person or the other. I could just leave the side-by-side up. And I also could just do the automatic switching view, so that every time someone sneezes or there's a little bit of noise, the camera switches. Google Hangouts does that a lot, and it makes me a little crazy because I feel like I miss things so often. So I'm still doing the editing of the video, trying to make it a little more visually interesting and a little more relevant. The audio is kind of what it is, but I have utilized, thanks to some of your help through the Patreon program, I'm using some of the new audio tools and services that are available online to levelize and sweeten the audio a little bit to hopefully give you a better product. So that's just a little bit of a look behind the curtain, but I did want to make sure that we touched on it so that you are aware of why it's happening. It's not just me getting lazy or changing things randomly. There were some issues that were driving it, but the biggest thing was just trying to get away from Skype and the problems we were having with that. So looking ahead to what's coming up in December, with the holidays coming, the New Year's holiday for everyone, and a variety of holidays depending on what you celebrate for everyone else, what happens from my perspective is availability goes down, schedules become a whole lot tighter, everybody has more commitments, it seems, around the holidays, and it gets a little tougher to get all the guests. But I've got some great guests already lined up. I've got some new shows on the way. I want to do a couple more MacVoices briefings before the year is out, so I don't think you will see a slowdown in our content. You just may see it rearranged a little bit depending on the week, where I am and where everyone else is. But MacVoices is not going away. And of course, then looking even a little farther into January, I'll be attending CES in Las Vegas. Those weeks, the production schedule will definitely be disrupted, but then there will be a whole lot of stuff coming your way as I get home and get to edit it. I would encourage you, if you don't already, subscribe to the MacVoices Dispatch, our weekly newsletter, to keep up on the announcements of what is coming and why, so you're not looking for a MacVoices and wondering where it was or why it didn't come out. And if it does go silent for the CES week, you'll also be alerted and know why. Lastly, I want to make sure that I remind you that we distribute MacVoices just about everywhere we can. The videos are posted to YouTube. The videos are posted to Facebook. The videos are, of course, included in our video podcast feeds, and I try to announce new episodes on social media whenever possible on all of my accounts. So if you're not signed up for any of those, don't follow me on Twitter or Facebook or whatever, aren't part of the MacVoices group on Facebook. I'm on Mastodon, I'm on micro.blog. Please go and check everything out, because I really do think that you will enjoy it, you will find it beneficial, and you will not find it noisy. You will just find good, solid information there. So with that, we wrap up with the Patreon update for this month. Unfortunately, we did not make our goal last month of getting one more new patron, so I'm hoping that happens in December. I'm also going to remind you, though, that December might be a really good month for you to join the Patreon campaign, because that way you get your name on every single one of the shows we will do from CES in January. And if prior years are any indication, there will be a lot of them. So you'll be internet famous, or not. Anyway, this month at Gold, we have RVS. At Silver, we have Chuck A., Carol B., Mac C., Michael D., Norbert F., David G., Tim G., Chuck P., Frank P., George R., and Daniel S. And at Bronze, Dakars F., Giro M., Michelin N., Prop P., and Rick S. And as always, thanks to our Patreon supporters, past, present, and hopefully future. You guys really help keep the show going. You allow me to do some new things, expand my horizons a little bit, expand the show's horizons, and help fund things like going to CES and NAB and bringing some of those events back to you and some of the information back to you so that you don't have to make the trip. So until the next time, and I guess I won't get to do this until the new year, so I will wish you all and your family happy holidays, no matter what you celebrate, wherever in the world you are. Thank you so much for being part of the MacVoices family, and I will talk to you again in the next briefing in January, but in the meantime, I'll see you on the next episode of MacVoices. Thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our MacVoices Facebook group, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us at patreon.com/MacVoices, and join these folks who help keep MacVoices coming to you. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com, Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.